time for another round of Thru Hike Skill Practice Dice. Rolling 2 dice today. Backpacker's Choice, woohoo! And the second one was Camp Outside Overnight. So for my choice, I'm going to set up and break down the tent, but I'm also going to camp overnight. Okay, my tent is laid out flat in the ground. Now I'm going around and putting my 4 tent stakes in, and I'm only hammering the stakes halfway into the ground so that I have room to readjust later if I need to without having to pull them all the way back out again. Final corner is in place, and now I'm going to circle back around and pound the stakes all the way in, double checking to make sure all my corners are perpendicular and taut. I needed to make a minor adjustment here, so I pulled the stake out first, put it back in, and pounded it in all the way. Looks good. Now it's time for the trekking poles. First one's going in. And now the second trekking pole. It's in the pocket, zipping it down. Ta-da! When staking my front doorway open, I like to keep the rock by the stakes so I don't trip over it. And I also use smaller mini groundhog stakes for the doors. So the vestibules, I have that one staked open. It's a warm day, and I actually flipped the flat back on this one and put a mini stake right there. Looks good. Ready for a backyard camping adventure. I inflated my Thermarest air mattress using my FlexTail gear pump. And I have this no-slip mat underneath it, my sit pad. And I have my Enlightened Equipment sleeping quilt all set to go. And this is where I'm going to be sleeping tonight. Woohoo! Little backyard fun. And now it's time to make food with my camp stove. All my stuff later. I measured out 3 cups of water here, but I'm only going to need 1. I was just playing around. Here's my safe catch tuna and added protein to put into my meal. No, that's cat food. And then I dumped this mac and cheese into this quart-sized freezer bag, Ziploc, and I made a temporary pouch cozy. Next time I cook, I'm going to use these big boulders as a setup place. Hey, there's my tent way over there, see it? But for now, I'm going to be a little bit safer since I've only used this once before and it was years ago. I boiled a cup of water, poured it into my Ziploc bag, put it into the pouch cozy. I'm going to let it cook for 20 minutes. And then I found wild sardines, which I decided to add instead of the tuna fish because yum and so much better for me. And there it all is, coming out of the pack. The cheese is already in there. I stirred in my sardines. And now let's have a taste. Mmm. It's really good. It's early in the morning, about 6 a.m. I slept pretty good till the coyotes howled and howled at about 2 a.m. That was awesome. Pretty good condensation going on here. What I wasn't expecting is so much under the mat. So there you go. That's the only place it's wet. I like that. Even one-handed putting that magnet up. Let's do a quick test to see which works better against condensation. Hopefully the sponge, because it's lighter. Let's test this out. All right, that worked really well. I don't even know that I'd want to try the REI wipe. Or, all right, this would be useless pretty quickly. So the sponge. Okay, sponge worked really well. I'm not in a hurry to leave this morning, so I'm just gonna let the sun do the work instead. Sun is even better than sponge. I let the sun do the work, so now it's time to pack it up. Okay, first I need to close the 2 vents and remove the 2 trekking poles. Starting at one vestibule, and then moving over to the opposite vestibule. And now zipping up the second zipper to prep it for folding. And then it's time to remove the 4 tent stakes on the corners. There's still a tiny bit of condensation on it, so I'm going to give it a good shake. I'm going to put it back on the ground in the form of a rectangle, folding the 2 peaks inward and straightening out the corners. Fold that second peak in. That's a pretty good rectangle. Now I'm going to fold it. And then fold it inward again so that it fits inside the stuff sack. And that done, I'll start folding it on itself lengthwise and then begin rolling it up. And then it goes inside the stuff sack. Zip that closed, and we are done. The duck car.
Things not scary cemetery.